Hello and welcome to the second screencast for the FOSS Water Unit of Study. In this screencast, we will dive into Investigation 1, Water Observations. This investigation has 3 parts and is designed to be completed in 8 sessions over the course of 3 weeks. Check out the Boston Public Schools Science Department website, bpsscience.weebly.com, to find the student learning outcomes for this unit of study. In Part 1, looking at water, students will investigate what happens when water gets spilled, splashed, or dropped on something, and does water do the same thing on all surfaces? Since this is the first part of the first investigation for the water unit of study, this screencast will focus on setting up structures that will be used throughout this module. So let's hop over to FOSS Web to explore the supporting materials available on the website. Once you've logged into FOSS Web, go to the Water module page. This is where you'll find the eTeacher guide. Click on it and it will open in a separate tab that looks like this. Under the table of contents, let's go to Investigation 1 and its At-a-Glance Matrix. The At-a-Glance Matrix is a great way to get an overview of each investigation broken down into its parts. So let's look at Part 1. The matrix starts with the inquiry questions that students will be exploring in this investigation, a summary of what students will be doing, the science content that students will be learning, and opportunities for assessment. After the matrix, you'll find background for the teacher and teaching children about water properties. These 2 short documents will give you a good idea of the science content and some students' emerging conceptions about water. So let's go ahead and dive into the lesson. Part 1, looking at water. Each part of the investigation has its own materials list and its own Getting Ready section. Most of the materials are provided in the kit, but materials indicated with a star do need to be provided by the teacher. This investigation also has several duplication masters. A letter to families about the content that students will be learning throughout the module, a student sheet, and an assessment sheet. These can all be found on FOSS Web under Investigation Masters. Next is the Getting Ready section. This section tells you how long ideally you'll schedule the investigation for. Since this is the first part of this module, it talks about opportunities for assessment throughout the module, materials you'll need to prepare that are specific to this part of the module, thinking about recycling water throughout the module, a reminder that there's a letter to send home to parents, you'll need to prepare 2 anchor charts that will be used throughout the module, a word bank and content inquiry chart. You want to start a project folder for collecting student questions and ideas that come up as students work through the investigations. Students will have a chance to investigate these questions and ideas during the final part of Investigation 4, Choosing Your Own Investigation. There's also information about ways to set up a materials station, considerations for dry recording. I recommend using clipboards, and information about the science story that correlates to this part of the investigation. Next up is guiding the investigation. This investigation is scheduled for one 40-minute session, but I recommend breaking it into 2. Take the first day to complete steps 1 and 2, where you discuss water and get to know students' background knowledge about water, what they already know, and also introduce and review property. On the second day, investigate the inquiry questions, introduce the different surfaces, and test water on those surfaces to see how water behaves. Each part of the investigation ends by wrapping up with the word bank and the content inquiry chart. The word bank is a place to collect science vocabulary that students are learning and using in their discussions. Some teachers like to use a pocket chart to collect words in the word bank or an anchor chart. The pocket chart, you can organize the words based on investigation or part of speech or whatever organization works best for you. The content inquiry chart is a place to capture student learning. So try to use students' own words as much as possible when you're recording the learnings from each part of the investigation. This investigation has 2 more parts. In part 2, surface tension, students will investigate what shape does water make on a flat surface? Why does water form a dome on a flat surface? How can you change the surface tension of plain water? This is a really fun activity that explores the phenomenon of surface tension. As the teacher, you will need to supply some materials, including pennies cleaned in white vinegar and dish detergent. Watch the teacher preparation video on FOSS-Web to see how to guide this part of the investigation. You can find the teacher preparation videos right here. Each teacher preparation video is about 5 minutes long. They're listed right here. If your schedule permits, surface tension has lots of opportunities for fun extensions, like figuring out how to float paper clips in water, or watching astronaut Chris Hadfield wring out a towel on the International Space Station. Interdisciplinary extensions are found on the last few pages of each investigation folio in the eTeacher Guide. In Part 3, Water on a Slope, students will investigate, does water always flow downhill? And how does changing the slope or quantity of water change the speed at which it flows downhill? Again, watch the teacher preparation video on FOSS-Web to see how to guide this part of the investigation. This activity also has a Science in the Schoolyard extension that can be found on FOSS-Web under Taking FOSS Outdoors in the Taking FOSS Outdoors folio. After completing Part 3 in the classroom, bring students outside to investigate water on an outdoor slope. That's it for this screencast. Happy teaching in Investigation 1, and I'll see you in the screencast for Investigation 2.